So there was this video that I saw that just exploded actually recently. It was interesting. It's got like 1 million views at this point. Called "You're Not Sexually." I feel it feels wrong for me to say it. I can't say it. Anyhow, so the video was this young lady. Young? Is she older than me? I don't even know. I don't think she is. Mostly kind of talking about the large amounts of sexual expression coming from young girls, probably like around, you'd say 16 to like 17 margin, particularly on TikTok a lot of the time. She kind of had a little bit more of a focus there. I wanted to talk about her video in numerous different ways, but her video is long in and of itself, so I would have to tackle it in multiple different parts. But one part that I can really like focus on and really want to discuss a lot is a part where she talks about her friend being a sugar baby. And I thought this was like really, really, really good for lots of different reasons. Because you probably have heard me say that we basically trained a generation of prostitutes, right? What do I mean by that? The relationship between males and females is codified in two things a lot of the time. Not always, but a lot of the time. Resource acquisition, validation seeking. Usually the two become one. Where a lot of people look to the individual that they're trying to date or they're trying to be in a sexual relationship with to obtain good feelings of affirmation and worth and value for the presence of the person, right? Validation. Or particularly from young ladies, particularly. Isn't saying that young men can't, it's just, let's just be fair to reality. Reality is complex, but let's just be real. The resource acquisition part is women trading sexual availability to men so they can get things. That's just the way it is, you know. And when I say that we've kind of have a generation of women trained to do this, there's a real ease and acceptance for women. Now, when you just say prostitution, when you just say whoredom, most women don't like it. Most women are very adverse to it. Most women don't really accept that that's just what it is. They love euphemisms. They love skirting around the topic. They love pretending that reality isn't what it is. You know, when you just say what it is, you know, when you cut, it's interesting, you know, because lots of women, they won't even think hard about why they date the men that they date. And I challenge them all the time at halftime. They don't really have much of an answer, or the answer is always the same canned chat response. He makes me happy, you know. He's there. And I've yet to meet a young lady where I've said, "Why are you with this guy?" And she said, "You know, I really thought hard about it." And I was like, "You know, man, if we have kids, he'd be a fantastic father." Never heard it. Never. Never, you know. It's always about their feelings. It's all about the validation, you know, and it's through talking with lots of women I've learned the validation machine is a huge portion of why they pick the men that they pick. But also it's the resource acquisition, it's getting things, it's using him to get things, it's using him to obtain things, right? And so when I say that there's this real ease and acceptance of that, it's that there's not a higher truth to the function of your relationship. You know, on the Fresh and Fit podcast, which I have to talk about those guys specifically and the caliber of women they bring on specifically at some point, it highlights this materialistic, downright stupid mentality that a lot of women have. And it's good that it highlights that. It is very good, like I said, and I'm going to focus on their whole podcast and whole video unto itself. But you see a general trend of women wanting things from men more so than they care about the other aspects that men have. Men have skills they can impart to them. Lots of women aren't like, I'm with my husband because he knows things I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Not that he can teach me, but it's more he does the things that I want him to do. But again, more specifically on just the ease of prostitution, the ease of whoredom for young ladies. we can see this codified pretty clearly in like Instagram and TikTok. Now, and the young lady's video really highlights this very, very well, which I encourage everyone to watch it. Like I said, when I find the time, I'm going to be breaking down sections of her video and responding to them. But just for the time being, viewer, watch her whole video. But you really see that sexual trading is very easy and natural to a lot of girls in our generation, right? And girls coming up behind us who are younger as well. Her video was mostly focused on younger ladies, but just women in my age bracket, 20 to say 30, that 10-year gap. Very easy, very easy. I'll be sexy. I will display sexuality. Give me some things. Here, I'm going to use it. And again, it's not as calculated as, say, a stripper. It's not as cut and dry as OnlyFans, but that softer form of utilizing their sex and sexuality in their just interpersonal relationships is something that has been trained in a lot of young ladies. A lot of women are doing so. And again, we just see it easier on the internet. It's not always, a money transaction monetarily, but the idea of getting gifts, of getting things, codifying relationships based on a sexual exchange, that prostitution, that's something that's just really easy for a lot of young ladies to do nowadays. And I've noticed this going on. Instagram, TikTok, they're probably the gateway, honestly. The gateway of recognizing that my sexuality can get me attention. And from that attention, I can get money, I can get things from this sexual. That gateway, that training of clearly taking advantage of male's desperation is what I think is kind of part of the answer as to why we see so much of it. Not only just because there's so much access, but it's the ease itself is incredibly, it's incredibly available to just have a camera, take pictures of your body and then post on the internet. TikTok, there's so much of just being beautiful on TikTok. And when I say just being beautiful, I mean the women just stand and they do like a little dance, and it's not a difficult dance. You know what I'm saying? They just do something, and just because they're just attractive, they get lots of people look. I mean, of course, because they're beautiful. People like looking at pretty people. So it's that again, but that's like the training wheels of prostitution, my friends. It's the training wheels of like being beautiful gets me lots of attention and lots of likes, and then I can trade that for something else. So the one thing I kind of wanted to focus on, because this is a long preamble, right? But one thing I wanted to look at here is this in the video I was really referring to, we start talking about sugar babies, and this one lady recounts her experience as a sugar baby, and I want to go over it because I've talked to sugar babies before. I'm going to talk about the times I talked to sugar babies, and we're going to comment upon this woman's sugar baby experience here, because again, if you were paying attention, euphemism. It's euphemism. Sugar daddies, euphemisms for what? You will see. So she's going to take us away.
So I was a sugar baby. I started a couple weeks after I turned 18, and I
stop right there. She's already set up for failure in life. Something happened to her already in life just to get here. She turned, and this is again, the training may not have even been not having her dad in her life. The training may not have even been sexual assault. The training may not have been any of that. The training may have been as simple as, oh hey, hold on, boys really like me. Boys keep giving me things and attention. Maybe I can leverage all this attention for the things that I want, since boys keep giving me stuff, since boys have a willing to. It's easy. Like literally, she said, I turned 18, I became a sugar baby. You can see how easy that transition could be, especially if you have years and years and years of this conditioning, years and years and years of this idea being pushed upon you. Let's of course also talk about lots of the feminism and the sexual liberation and all the nonsensical nonsense, the Lacey Greens of the world. I mean, it's been a while, but I still remember you, Lacey. You have all of that. It is no wonder, to me at least, that literally I turned 18. Now I need to go find someone to provide for me and give me money and stuff. And also again, we can highlight, there clearly has to be a lack of a father in her life to desire that, to seek that out in such a manner. But we're just gonna continue.
I stopped a couple weeks before I turned 21. And most of that time I was with the same man. The first one that I met him on a website called Seeking Arrangements. When I met him for the first time, he showed up with like $500 worth of gifts for me. He gave me $200 in cash. And then after that, we met up about once a week for like a year. And when we met up, we would go to dinner, go to lunch, like go see a movie. And he would buy me stuff like every time we went out. But in addition to buying me stuff, every time we met up, he would give me $200. That was like my allowance unofficially. So I'd say he probably gave me like a couple $1,000 over like the course of the years we were talking. We did like the dirty stuff too. Oh, I should also mention he was 51 when we met and I was 18. So
there's two things we need to unpack now. There's two things we need to unpack. Now one we need to unpack to unpack is all of the gift giving, you know. Now it's maybe I'll save that for when she mentions it, because it is something that needs to be discussed about the mentality of young women. I guess you could say it's to people, but this just affects young ladies a lot, which we'll see when we get there. But the thing you'll notice is that she before she drops the bomb that this man was like 51, which by the by is the fate, is the destiny that the dating coaches and you know, in the manosphere and the red pillars are asking you to obtain, young man. Make no mistake. Your fate is not one of being a high value male and having a whole bunch of girls around you. This is your destiny. You hit 40, you hit 50, and then you go find a sugar baby as a shortcut to a relationship, because that's what we need to unpack here. This was a relationship, right? And as much as the young lady here is trying to like distance herself here, or like trying to cast some shade here to make this look worse than what it is, this was all a choice in the decision she made. She knew the nigga was 51 when she met him. You know what I mean? She's like, oh, by the way, he was 50. Like, no, let's just hold your horses there, young lady. You picked them. You picked them. You were there, bro. You knew. You know, it's just really interesting to me that what she's obviously trying to do is highlight his age to show just how gross and disgusting it was, and just how bizarre that it was the man who was so much older pretty much was preying on the young lady here. You know, the reason why I say quotation marks is because she went to a website called Seeking Arrangements. It's like seeking, need I go on? But again, I just kind of wanted to highlight that's what her intentions there was in highlighting his age, was to make it seem like he was preying on someone. He was taking advantage of someone so much younger than her. But another thing I wanted to focus on is that this, in any other context, is a sexual relationship, right? And the problem is the fact that because this is what a sexual relationship has become, this is actually normal. Going out on dates, giving women gifts, buying them stuff, having sex. That's just what we're trained to do. That's just a courtship we're trained to do, right? It's not even out of the ordinary. It's not even bizarre. That this is just what he's supposed to be doing when it comes to trying to date young. I say trying to date young ladies. This man's like 50. He's 51. Is weird. Anyhow, we're gonna keep moving.
We had like a 32-year age difference. After knowing each other for like a year and a half, I moved, and it just so happens where I was going is where he lived, and I was moving away from my parents and into an apartment in college. And so I basically spent most of my time living with him at that point. So we spent like every day together, all day, and we would spend the whole weekends together. We would like go on trips. So that was like the good part of the relationship.
Let me just stop right there. Notice, my friends, that the good part of the relationship was clearly the materialistic gain. Now, of course, that would be a little bit obvious, right? Because despite the euphemism of being a sugar baby, this is a monetary transaction. This is just straight up prostitution. I'm going to trade my time and my body, my sexuality to you, so you give me gifts and things. That's the arrangement, you know, and no matter how much you dress it up, that's what it'd be. But the interesting thing I kind of wanted to highlight is the fact that there is so much time invested. There's so much time put into this. And there is no development from this woman of like any care in this man. And that is, or at least should be, Bizarre. Friends, how is it that you spend so much time with someone and you don't develop love, you don't develop care, you don't develop affection for someone that you're so sexually intimate with? Of course, that would of course highlight another big problem with like sexual intimacy, and that is the fact that like its secondary purpose of creating bonds with people is totally destroyed, mostly due to its commodification, mostly due to its utility here. Of course, I mean, here's the thing. It's obvious why she didn't. One, there's no way in bloody hell she was attracted to this 51-year-old man. Let's just be real. Um, and just because she was not attracted to him, because she wasn't really even trying to actually have this sexual relationship with this person, she just only wanted his stuff, she was probably disassociating probably the entire time she was sexually intimate. And that of course destroys and just breaks apart the natural ability that humans have to in order to bond when we get intimate with each other. Because you guys have to remember, literally hugging somebody bonds you to them. Literally being physically close triggers the oxytocin in your brain that makes you close to them, and develop that comfort, that opening, that vulnerability as a human brings you closer, and it creates a mental emotional bond. Literally just hugging people, literally just holding hands with people, literally just sitting next to somebody, you know. That's why, here's the interesting thing. Do you know why you get so scared and like shocked when you sit next to a stranger, you touch a stranger? It's because that bond is creating and it's disjointed to you. It's weird. You're not comfortable. You don't know the person, but your body is trying to get you to bond when you're not really supposed to. So it's that cognitive dissonance that fights in your brain. That's why whenever you touch someone, you jerk back and you get scared. A little fun fact of human psychology. But this is also a reason why there's so many young ladies talking about the disgust that they have for men that they're having sex with, is because they're so intimate with people that they don't friggin' like. But the reason why is due to the training, the basic training rules of prostitution that has brought young ladies up to this point. So she's just going to continue.
But the bad part is that like once we started living together is when things got bad. When we would be together, if I so much as like looked at my phone while I was with him, he would be like, I'm spending all this money for you to spend time with me, and like you're gonna go talk to someone else that you can go see any other time. He would also guilt me really bad into giving him head. Every time I saw him, he'd be like, I'm doing all this for you, like it's the least you could do. And I hated it every single time. I'm a lesbian now. He would like talk down to me all the time. He'd tell me like that there was no way I could understand the things he was talking about because I was too young, even though like he would tell me all the time that I was like so mature and that like he liked that I was young and mature. But then like when it didn't work out for him, he would like make me feel awful about it. He really just made fun of me like all the time. He used to get really angry. Sometimes if his TV wasn't turning on, he would get so mad. He would like punch walls and scream, be like, God damn it, this f***ing TV. And anytime I would ask him to like not yell or like not be so mad, he would start yelling at me and be like, I'm not yelling at you, stop being such a f***ing baby. So he would buy me things to make up for it. It worked. It worked for like a year.
Of course it did, right? Because that's just the cost-benefit analysis, right? The cost is this guy basically, I mean, just straight, he abuses you. It's just, you know, that's what it is. The benefit is you get things. Cost-benefit. The thing that's interesting to me is the mind of a lot of young ladies is so materialistic that they allow for this behavior to prosper. And I know a lot of people will probably hear me say that, and they'll think that like I'm putting all of the blame on women, that this 51-year-old man should have acted. Yeah, no shit. Would I look like saying that a grown-ass man should have acted? Yeah, of course he should have. You know, how ridiculous would it be for me to sit here and wag my finger? Yo, you should act. But yeah, of course you should. But the problem is, it doesn't matter if some nigga on the internet says that you as a young man should be held to a higher standard when he is rewarded with blowjobs and a wop from a young woman who he's constantly giving gifts to. So the truth of the matter is, no matter, even though I can say clearly and obviously his behavior is reprehensible and stupid, the problem is it's rewarded by this prostitution system, this sugar baby system that this young lady is taking part in. She is accepting his behavior because the cost does not outweigh the benefits to her in her mind, because, to be frank, she's materialistic. If she cared more about the higher truths of the world, if she cared more about honor, virtue, she cared more about integrity, she would be bothered by this. She would be so bothered by it, she would say, yo man, your behavior is abhorrent. Why are you acting like this? I'm not going to deal with you if you're going to act like this. You need to have respect for me and other people. But of course, material things. I want things. Things are more important than my own comfort and my own safety. That's how a lot of women view. A lot of women put the cost, or they put the benefit of getting materialistic things well over anything else. There is no higher truths to the world to a lot of young ladies. It's just things. And the reason why I say thing, I do really just mean things. If you've noticed, the young lady here has not been specific with the gifts. I think she said she got $200. That's the only real specificity here. Which means even to her, whatever the gifts were not important. They weren't really all that valuable. They were just a means to an end. Even in her mind, she's not putting importance on the gifts. The gifts were just a gateway. And that's why, the reason why I say things is so you guys understand, specifically, there is no value. There is no worth. That's the point. The point is, we impart so much value on things when really things are just objects or inanimate objects that usually should be used for some type of purpose or another. They should not be used as bartering tools for us to undermine ourselves or disrespect ourselves, or to give in to certain types of behaviors that we really would not put up with if anyone else in the world would have done so. But that's kind of the thing with a lot of abusive relationships, with a lot of messed up relationships. The cost benefit that a lot of women are coming up to is the cost just does not match the fact that I get stuff. So
the power dynamic was so unhealthy because he could do whatever he wanted to me.
No, he could not have done whatever he wanted to you. The only reason why he was allowed to do whatever he wanted to you was because you valued whatever things, whatever money he was giving to you. If your values were different, if virtue is what you cared about, virtue being that you are a morally upright person that has a goal, you have principle, there are some things you believe in, there's things you have a cap, things you should not do, which is one, disrespecting people or mistreating people or being cruel to people when they don't really deserve it. Or at least even when you explode, you at least try to come back and apologize and repent and whatnot. That type of stuff. If that is what mattered to you, if that's what was meaningful to you, you would not have accepted this behavior. My friend, a lot of women say that they don't have power in these relationships. And again, it's only because what they value is not important. It's not the correct thing to value. When you elevate stuff, when you elevate validation, you're going to accept a lot of nasty, cruel, mean behavior. And the truth of the matter is, no matter how much you say that this is evil, no matter how much you say this is bad, no matter how much you say he should not act like, a grown adult man should use his power and money and leverage it over a young woman who just turned 18, over a young woman who just turned 21. He should not do it. You're right, he shouldn't. But if you take the transaction, if you accept the terms, why would he stop? The only thing that would stop him is virtue. The only thing that would stop him is understanding why that would be a problem, why that would be wrong. But if that's never present there, you're not there because you care about this person being good, treating you well. You're there because you're trying to get something. So you can't expect better behavior from someone when you yourself there is also being reprehensible. Because let's be fair, obtaining things and using people to get materialistic stuff to get ahead isn't good moral behavior from your own token, from your own self. You know, let's not pretend here that you're the victim, that you're the hero of this tale. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't going anywhere because I needed it. I also loved him. I guess you could say I did love him for a while before things were really bad. I did.
No, to be fair, the way a lot of women don't use the word love the way I use it. I need to make a whole video where I talk about that because I think it's a really important concept that needs to be discussed a little bit more. But the way a lot of and I say women, but it's like people in general, they use love more as an emphasis for like. It's more it's like squaring the term like. You know, when you like something, it gives you lots of pleasure. It makes you feel really good. I love to play League of Legends, really just codified too. I really, really like playing League of Legends. It's more like that, you know. That's how a lot of people use it, more just emphasis for my own personal enjoyment and gain and validation. But love is more than that. In fact, love more than anything else is a selfless emotion of you giving to someone more than it is something that you are receiving, especially when you look at all the sacrifices people make for the individuals they say they love, say parent to a child, you know. But we'll get into that more in that one video that I'm going to create at some point in the near future. I promise this time, I really will. I want to talk about that very much, but again, it's the fact that what she's more referring to here is not the selflessness. She's not being selfless here. She's not giving to this man. She doesn't love this man as someone she wants to see improve, someone she wants to see happy, someone she wants to help, someone she wants to protect. It's none of that. It's he makes me feel good about me. That's what that is. It's validation at the end of the day. And she's going to continue.
So it was a really abusive and bad situation. Things were getting serious between us. And he wanted to meet my family. I met his family. He has 2 sons that are older than I am. And he would want to meet my family. And he's older than both of my parents. So I would tell him you can't meet my parents. And he would get so angry with me. He'd be like, I do all this for you. And we're so serious. And I can't even meet your family. Then it's not even real. And I was like, you're right. It's not real. You're my fucking sugar daddy.
Of course, my friends, this is the tragedy here, right? And this is why I say there are no heroes. There's no heroes in this story, right? Because for as much as this old man honestly had no business doing this, this young lady clearly understood in her mind that she was just using him. She was just taking she was just taking his stuff. She was a leech to his life. She understands that clearly, and it's weird because she teeters back and forth on this, right? On the one hand, she says, "You're just my sugar daddy," you know. On the other hand, but she says, "No, but I did love him at a time. I spent all this time with this sumbitch, take all his stuff, eat all his food, become sexually intimate with him. But there's no relationship here, guys. No, you're just my sugar daddy. No, none of this matters. None of this is real." The sillier, stranger thing here is if this woman had some integrity. The moment she heard that this man believed that this was some type of relationship, which is delusional on his part, it's not lost on me that he's fucking delusional, but the moment she heard that, integrity, honor, should have told her for his own sake to protect him because she loves him, I'm hurting you. You will not get what you want from me. And because of that, I'm going to stop. I'm going to abandon. I'm going to leave you alone so you can find whatever the heck you want with someone else, but it can't be me. I'm just using you. Of course, integrity. She has no integrity. Because why? Because she was trained that this is the natural order of male to females. Because her whole life, let's be real, even if it's not her whole life, probably ever since she was a teenager, ever since she became sexually aware, her whole life is men giving her stuff so they can get access to the woman. That's just a training that she's been baked into. That's been programmed into her. So of course she's like, no, you can't meet my family, despite the fact that this man believes that this is some type of relationship, which the delusional part comes from the fact that he met her on seeking arrangements. But at the same time, if you listen to what she said in any other context, that is a relationship.
He really blurred the lines of sugar daddy and boyfriend, and that's when it got bad. I was at the time 19 in a relationship with someone who was at the time 52.
I'm choosing, my friend. You picked them out of all the people. First of all, I mean, why you were on seeking arrangements to begin with is beyond me. I'd love to know the lore behind your backstory, but you picked them. Again, there are no heroes here, and there are no victims. You picked them, and he picked you.
I also exclusively referred to him as daddy per his request. I never called him his name. Literally our entire multiple-year relationship, I don't think I ever referred to him by his name. Anytime I complained to him about anything, he would flip it back to me, make it my fault somehow, and say, well, I'm the one giving you all this money, so I'm allowed to do whatever I want, basically, is what he would say. Okay, so I will say, all my negative experiences aside, I don't regret starting sugaring, and I'm probably going to continue once I'm healed from like my drama from this relationship.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. This lesbian here is gonna continue to be a sugar baby to sugar daddies. Sweet magic, sweet magic, sweet magic. I guess to be fair, I mean, if you're going to use sex as a transaction, it's best to be a homosexual so you don't really develop any feelings or care. Of course, destroying your own body and self-respect repeatedly for materialistic gain is, I mean, it's a price worth paying apparently to you, you know.
And there's a way to do it safely, and there's a way to do it responsibly, and I don't think it's a bad thing to do at all. But so that being said, let me give you some tips from a self-proclaimed professional sugar baby, because after I stopped seeing him, I did see a couple other guys like more casually. Like, use common sense when it comes to finding a person. I suggest using sites specifically for sugaring, because like anyone could message you on Instagram and be like, oh my god, you're so sexy, do you want to be my sugar baby? The biggest thing I can say when it comes to getting money from them is if they are specific, like weirdly specific and demanding about how they send you money, it's an immediate huge red flag. Like if they're like, oh, I'll send you money, but it's gonna be through this website that you've never heard of.
Now, notice something. Yeah, actually, you don't even notice it. It's just clear as day. This woman is just training other prostitutes.
Don't do it. Like if they ask you to do so many things that like seem weird, don't do it. Never take checks unless you like know the person really well and you trust them. Cash is like the ideal method in my opinion, just because it's the least traceable and like you would get in the least trouble if something is bad like with the person. And like never do direct deposit or like bank transfer. Like never give them your bank information. You would think that's self-explanatory, but I've had so many people in the past ask me if they should give this person they're talking to their bank information. So like don't do that. Don't do what I did. Don't live with them. Like don't start a relationship with them. Keep things very professional. Give someone your location when you meet them for the first time. Give multiple people your location for the first time when you meet someone, and let the guy know that multiple people have your location when you first meet the person, so that he knows that if he messes up, people know where you are. Set clear boundaries and let the guy know what your boundaries are, and if he tries to push them, then it's a no. Like it's not worth being disrespected and taken advantage of for the money. There are sugar daddies out there that will respect your boundaries and that will do all the things you want them to do and still give you money. It's harder to find, but it's out there.
The reason why I let that play out was to show you guys a more, I guess you'd say, upfront training of prostitutions, while my earlier explanation was more a soft form of training prostitution. I will make this clear, maybe I have to make it constantly clear. This does not mean all women contemporarily are trained to be prostitutes. It's not the case. There are some women who are principled enough, or at least are strong enough to see and understand and not avoid prostitution simply for the visceral disgust of being with fat, ugly guys, but more the morality and the understanding that with great power, there must also come great responsibility. And yeah, it most certainly applies here. If this woman understands that what she's doing is taking time, energy, and life force away from someone that can never have what he's asking for from her, then it is her responsibility with that knowledge, because knowledge is power, i.e., with knowledge comes great responsibility. Come on, I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. With that understanding, with that knowledge, it does become her job to do what's right and let that sumbitch go. And at the same time, he should have never started with her. Like, you guys are wrong. Anyone who typed, you're right. He had no business doing it. You're right. But again, what I really want to kind of like focus on is the fact that like, no matter how much we can say, these men have no business going on OnlyFans. These men have no business going to strip clubs. These men have no business. You're not wrong, but if the behavior is accepted, if the behavior is rewarded, if women are going to accept this, then they have to cut off the supply. And we also have to cut off the training of allowing this thing to be acceptable or to be okay, and to telling young ladies that it's fine to trade in being sexual for materialistic gain and materialistic things. The reason why is because, one, there's a lot of bonding strength and power that comes from being physically intimate with people, and you are damaging yourself, not just necessarily physically with any venereal diseases you may have, but you're damaging yourself emotionally as well and mentally as well by cutting this off. Because if you ever decide to actually try to form a strong, coherent relationship with someone, it's going to be a lot more difficult because of all of, you heard her say it yourself, trauma that you dealt with in a relationship that you probably didn't need to be in the first place. That's just number one. But number two, there is life-creating potential in sexuality. I'm not going to let any one of us here escape that fact that this young lady could have very easily had gotten pregnant by this 51-year-old man, and now instead of this man having 2 sons that are older than her, she has to take care of the third one. The point is, there's lots of responsibility and lots of ways around this and lots of thought that needs to go into this. And our friend here should not have taken her experience as a way of trying to teach young ladies how to be better prostitutes. She should have taken this experience and tried to tell young ladies that no, you probably shouldn't be looking for sugar daddies. You should be looking for husbands, and then be a good wife to that husband so you guys can have a strong family, so you guys can work together in life, instead of trying to use your WAP to get money and to get things. That's what should have been imparted onto these young ladies, but I'm here to correct her. So that being said, I certainly hope you guys got something out of today's video. You probably didn't, but if you did, man, go and click the like button. Go and click that subscribe button. Comment below. As always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.